because I promised to you it's 3:30, and because we don't have much time. And whoever comes next will come in the middle of whatever we're in the middle. So as you know, my name is Christiana ELTRAYAN. It's been lovely to share this adventure with you so far, and I'm happy to share further. And I've been doing Tao Tantra practices since many lifetimes ago, whoever believes in lifetimes. And in this lifetime, my first Tantra book was at 13, when I came into Kama Sutra. I came across a book called Kama Sutra, and I had the chance to read it. And I was very happy to discover at a very young age. I wasn't really interested in sex at that time, but I was seeing these images around me of people doing stuff that I don't really resonate with at that level of consciousness. And then Kama Sutra brought it all together by explaining this activity as an art. And this was my feeling, that it is an art actually, it's not a body friction thing. And it was proven to me along the years that it's true. So I've been studying this since I was almost a kid, and practicing since 10 years ago, when I started to reawaken at 27, now I'm 37, I started to reawaken to the life of a conscious person. Before I was 27, I did the life of the traditional earthling. Hello, thank you for joining us. Who was getting a job, getting a marriage, getting things done one way or another, and getting crazy in the process, you know. I was slowly losing my balance to a point where I had to come back into it and start meditating and start doing the practices and start getting a grip of what I truly am. So I started with meditation. I started with Mantak Chia's emotional practices that he taught us the days before, with the internal organs, and then circulating my sexual energy with a microcosmic orbit, and applying techniques which say that you shouldn't spill out the energy but bring it to the upper centers. But it wouldn't have been, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, it wouldn't have been very efficient for me if I hadn't paid attention to my nourishment, what fuel I'm intaking to feed this machinery with which I practice. You know, because we all pay very much attention to our tools, the computers, the cars we use, the devices we use in general. Whoever's coming next, please bring a mattress onto this space and make yourself comfortable. We're all paying so much attention to the tools we use and the machinery you use, and we know how they function and what fuel we put in so that they function good. For example, you don't put water in your gas tank, yes, or you do not plug your computer into 330 because you know it needs 220 plug-in. I don't know how to call it in English. Yet with the physical body, your machinery that you're using all the time, maybe some of you do not pay that much attention in terms of fueling. And this is just a reminder to remind you that it's just a device like any other. It's a biocomputer that works perfectly and has amazing capacities, actually, if well fueled. And there's a direct connection between the energy we exchange and utilize or share, you know, and the energy we input. You can take a sit there or there if you want, or there's an extra chair here, you take it everywhere. And this fuel can actually transforms into energy inside your body, and the type and the quality of fuel that you're using is generating a certain type of energy, whereas a different type of fuel is generating a different type of energy in your bodies. Does this make sense so far? Is the topic interesting? So then, your main energy being sexual energy, it directly means that the fuel you put in your body directly influences how your sexual energy is and moves. Welcome. And people are trying to refine and channel their sexual energy, as we was taught in these conferences that are very, very important. But there's much difficulty in that if the type of fuel we're intaking is heavy or not appropriate for our machinery. So in other words, to make it simple, it's much difficult to lift up and channel your energy if the fuel you've put in is hard to circulate. Yeah? If it blocks your circulation, if it creates clutter in your body, and it's not difficult to be able to do the microcosmic orbit or the yoga poses or the energy circulation between partners and so on. That's why when you start a tantric practice, there's a seat right here and one right here if you want. When you start a tantric practice, it's very important that you mind your fuel, what you put in, that creates your chi in your body. Welcome, Mantak Chia. There's a seat here if you want. Okay. And the lighter your food is, the better you can circulate your energy. So that's why, for example, in India, when you go to a very, very good yogi master, which are very few in these days, the first thing they tell you is go to a lighter diet. And they make you give up certain things so that your mind can be clearer. Yes, so when you start a yoga practice or a chi practice in general, they're gonna first tell you about how to lighten up your diet, how to give up alcohol, and whatever psychedelics is that you're using, and how to give up smoking, and how to give up the things that put toxins in your body so that the energy can circulate. Because if your smoking is blocking your thyroid and your liver, then it's not going to be able to share your energy with your partner as well and in your body. Or if your mind is blown away by a certain drug that you've intaken, then you're not going to be able to focus your energy. That way, when you're with your partner, you're going to be a little bit distorted in your sharing. And that's important, because that's creating the quality of the relationship you have with your own machinery and with the other person that you're sharing in your tantric Tao practices. That's why I was asking Mantak Chia that question the other day. It's not that I'm using drugs, but that I know his opinion and cherish it. And I very much want to transmit this, that when you start a practice of this amplitude that has a cosmic impact on your life, we have to be mindful always about what you're intaking as energy, because everything is information, everything is frequency at a certain level. Yes, it goes from dance to sound to light and higher realms of being, yes? And that makes it so that everything is an information that you put in your body. And so being mindful of what type of information you want to inform this biocomputer with, and paying attention every moment to that, so that your practice can be lighter and more efficient. So when you start a Tao Tantra practice, where you amplify, because each exercise that you do, be it breath work, be it physical practices like the spinning that we did with the hips and the spinning with the orbit, that is energy, it amplifies your energy. It makes it grow, right? It makes your chi field expand. It makes you be bigger. But you're bigger in what you are. Yes, it makes sense? You're bigger in what you are, so energy is neutral. Whatever it encounters, it grows. So that's why people that are trying to force lift their kundalini experience so much trouble, because kundalini meets stuff in their bodies and it makes it grow. And if it meets harmonious stuff, it makes it grow bigger, like love, compassion, kindness, If you're smart, it makes you be smarter even. But if you're furious, your kundalini meets your anger and it grow and spring out, you know. And if you're frustrated, then lifting your kundalini is not going to make it go away. It's just going to amplify that and turn it into madness, maybe. And that's why so many people are having trouble by force lifting their kundalini without first cleaning their system, their chakras, their internal organs, their diet also, yeah? And they're getting trouble, their lives gets imbalanced, and they do not know why. I'm losing all my fortune, or I'm losing my family, or I'm starting to have these delusions or this weird behavior. Well, because you've forced your energy to grow in a place where it wasn't so clean. And now you have to face that and clean it in some way. And that's why Mantak Chia's emotional practice are so, so important. Because it clears out the clutter and then in your practice with your partner. Are there questions so far? Anyone wanting to ask anything?
So
Yes.
I have a question. If the Kundalini already, activated,
Yeah.
but you still have some blockages,
Yeah.
but can you intentionally try to clean it out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's where the Tao Tantric practice are coming in, you know. You've maybe lifted your Kundalini, but it's fullest potential, yes? Because there's several degrees. It's first from one chakra to another, and then in amplitude it can vary also. The larger your channel is, so in Hindu tradition there's 3 channels, the Ida, the Pingala, and the Shushumna, and in Taoist tradition there's also the front, the back, and 2 blue and red channel, and many other energy meridians, but I'm talking of the main now. So the larger they get, is like the highway, yes? If you have a 2-lane highway, it's gonna only go circulate, 4 cars, no? Or, yeah. But if you have a 6-lane highway, then more cars can circulate. Like the same with your energy channel. You lifted your kundalini through a channel that is like this. But if you enlarge, if you help it grow bigger and clean it, it's gonna be more energy and function in a more efficient way. And also the Taoist practices that Mantak Chia shares with cleaning each organ with the inner smile, smiling to the liver, transforming anger into generosity, yes, or fear into peace in your kidneys, or sadness into courage in your column. All that is making the energy meet better emotion and growing it. Yeah, make sense? Good. Other questions? Okay. A thing that I've encountered and made me be very mindful about my diet and how this impacts my energy field was something called pranic nourishment, or pigu. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Hands up. Okay. So this is something many of my teachers, including Master Chia, teaches about. It's a practice of increasing your chi field and your energy circulation with daily practice, and in the meantime decreasing your food intake. Because if you are to be mindful of your body in each second, you will notice that, for example, 2 mornings ago, I was waking up and thinking about breakfast, not because I have the habit of having breakfast, because at home I really eat very, very little, mainly miso soup and nuts. That's what I like to eat in the evening to be able to go to sleep. Here is my favorite place and my favorite restaurant in the whole world. And I cannot, at least once a day, take something for the taste because it's so beautifully prepared and so organic and so natural and such good chi, yes? And so I was thinking about breakfast, though I never take breakfast. And then I came to Master Chia's class and we did the course, we did the practice. And after that I thought, okay, maybe I'll have lunch. And when I came to lunch and looked around, no, my body was full already. So I couldn't have even lunch. It was already nourished. Because before the practice, maybe I was feeling a little low. Who knows where I traveled in my dream time, yeah? But after I started cleaning my field, yeah, in our dream time, actually, we do a lot of work. I don't know how many of you noticed that in your dream time you go to school or you do healing or large groups of people, Yeah? That's up if you got it. A lot of it, yeah? Or you do astral traveling, or you go on your ship, or whatever you're doing, yes? And when you're coming back, you're not really maybe fully feeling rested, because you've done some job over there, during the night. That's why it's so good to practice, to have a meditation before going to bed, so that you set your frequency on a higher dial, so that when you travel during your night, you travel in a place where you really want to be in, yeah? Because you are going to go into a place that is frequency matching your vibration. That's why evening meditation is so good. First, you clear up the day of you. You might want to take a shower as well. And then you add a frequency, like choosing where you want to go, yes? Before falling asleep. And so you wake up in the morning and you might feel tired or hungry or whatever. But when you start your practice, like it happened to me, you see that, oh no, I don't really need food. Or if you are going to go and take food, maybe you do not need to fill your plate, because you don't really need that much. Maybe you just need a soup and some coconut. Or maybe you just need a soup and certain spices or certain herbs that will make your digestion flow better, or will impact your yin-yang balance in a certain way. Yeah? How many of you believe that the food that you intake has a certain impact of your yin and yang balance in your body? How many of you know that there's yin food and yang food, or food that generates this type of energy? Yeah, in Chinese tradition there's a lot of books about it, and in Hindu tradition they talk about 3 gunas. Yeah, did you hear about that?
Yeah.
The 3 main states of the mind: the calmer, peaceful state, sattva; the agitated, active state, even hyperactive state, that's called raja; and the dragging and the low state, yeah, that comes from really, really bad food. So they say that each food creates one of these 3 states. Yeah, the food that is light, that is nourishing but without burdening, like the nuts, the rice, the coconut milk, that's all creating the sattvic state, the peaceful state, the calming of your spirit. The agitated state, or active or hyperactive, is created by foods that are spicy, foods that are young or excessive. Yeah, and there's written, it's called Get Seduced by Your Own Life, that describes categories, and it includes the foods in all these 3 columns, and it gives you the exact details about it. It's on Amazon. And there's this the 3rd low state food, that are the fried food, the meat, the heavily cooked food, yes, that you've noticed after a meal you feel sleepy, or you feel heavy, or you feel like you're not having the mood to do anything, because you've had the very, very heavy meal. And instead of wanting to go and do your projects, you're sitting there massaging your belly, hoping that, you're not going to be embarrassed in public in some way or another. Yeah? And imagine with a partner, you've had a heavy meal, and then go home with your boy, and you want to do crazy stuff, but instead you just almost fall asleep for the night, because your body is busy digesting, and all your energy is going there, and all the blood is going there, and instead of circulating energy through your organs, it's just going to stay there working on getting that food out of your system and extracting your nutrients, in the other order, of course. So the question is, each day, what do you want to do? Yeah, do you want to live productive, lucid in your mind, or do you want to be heavy, slow, sleepy because of some taste that you've enjoyed? And also in your sexual practice, do you want to be light, easy to circulate energy-wise? Do you want to be powerful as a man with your woman? Or do you want to be lazy, thank you honey, as Mantak Chia said, and quick to finish? Because that's also a big thing, especially for men. Men, you have a very heavy job to do. For us to circulate energy is easier because we have this body, and in the sexual practice, all we need to do is take the sexual energy that we have in the lower chakras and take it upward to the higher chakras. Very easy if we know how to do it. But you have to do something much difficult because you have to take matter, sperm, which is liquid, denser liquid even, transform it into chi, so make it less denser, and transform it into shen, spirit, which is the highest of its forms. So it's a higher alchemy work that you have to do there. And the quality of the food that you're intaking is impacting the easiness of you doing this. So when you start a tantric practice, especially men, be mindful of what you're eating, because that's going to make it easier for you to transmute that energy, or it's going to make it harder for you to transmute it. Also the tendencies, the main tendencies of where it wants to go. You know, when you have meat, eggs, and animal products, you go into a more animalic state in your general tendency, yes? And the animal state is to expel, not to harness and circulate the energy. It wants to go out. It wants to be wild, you might say. When the more refined your food is, the more refined your inner state is, it goes towards the sattva that we've talked about, the peacefulness, the calmness, the highness of the spirit, and therefore the easiness of lifting it up. Yeah, when your ideas are uplifted, when your general state is uplifted, guess where your energy goes? Yeah, it's not going to stay all the time in the survival mode, in the who's the next, the what is my power games mode. Yeah, it's going to go higher into how can I love better? How can I communicate better? How can I be better on this planet? And that's where the energy goes also at the physical level. It's easier to circulate. So when you're starting a tantric practice, first give up the foods that are making it higher to get high. Make sense? The foods that are making it higher to get high, yeah? To take this energy upwards, yeah? And you make this exercise for a week or a month. Do 1 week without meat or animal products. And feed yourself consistently with protein and nutrients from plant-based diet. And then if you still are in the mood for it, do 1 week with animal products in meat. And you'll see, and in practice in this time, and you'll be able to compare, but be fair to yourself and don't cheat. Yeah, I'll take a little cheese now, I'll take a steak with my friend, and then I'll go back. No, just be consistent for 1 week or 1 month, and see how you can feel your energy in that meantime with your practice. If you're single and play with your balls and your, breasts and your internal energy, yes, you see how easy it is to have inner orgasms and to circulate the microcosmic orbit and to feel the energy inside of you in the week or month without animal products and in the week or month with animal products. If you're in a couple, see how that's even more challenging. Look, the cat wants to come to the conference. If you're and said, okay, I should eat some mango now or some whatever fruits they have around that are fabulous, and so all of a sudden felt better. Or ate and then went to the herbalist here and he gave you some things to put all the stuff out, and then you've noticed, oh, now I feel that I've come to the class, I don't know where I was till. Yeah, where it's the same in day-to-day life. Here is more tempting because the food is great, yeah, but in the day-to-day life is the same. And I'm going to tell you, men, another secret, also for women too, but men is the ones that push, Work, yeah? Liver is your source of power, yeah? Is your source of yang. And it has the power to either uplift the lady or make her go to sleep also. No matter how big or small you are, if you know what I mean, it has to have power. And that's different than sati. And that power comes from inwardly. It comes from your organs, from internal organs, especially from your liver. What does the liver do in your body? What is its function?
Purify. Cleans the blood.
Detox. What else?
Storing blood and bringing blood to the muscles.
Bringing blood to the muscles. What is the? It's not a muscle, of course, but what is the thing that needs blood when you share with a partner? Yeah, thank you very much. That's the thing that needs blood when you're. Yeah, for women, absolutely. But I'm now particularly referring to men and saying that if you feel you lack power, or if your husband, for the ladies, lack power in your sex act, in your tantric practice, you might want to recommend a detox for him. And then energy cleansing the blood so that the liver doesn't have, and cleansing the internal organs in general. And see how he is after that. Yeah? Because then when the liver has power, and it has the power to push the blood where it needs to go, and it has the, how to call it, it's not the fire, but the yang energy to be able to transmit that into you, you're going to feel different. Yeah, it's very important. So, and because the liver has these functions that we've talked about, then it gets very heavy with heavy food. So it's not able to do his job so well when you put too much to it, you put too much work for it to do. And it will help him very much if you had a lighter diet, right? It will help him very much function correctly and do its job properly. And let's think of another thing that's very important. There have been studies now. I've written a book about Piku nourishment. How many of you have heard about that? Or pranic nourishment or Organitarianism? Yes? It's the ability to be nourished by chi. Like I said before, when you do a practice, you all of a sudden notice that you don't need that much food. Do you need the AC turned on?
Maybe so.
Do you want to turn it on, please? Yes. It's too hot. Okay, thank you. So I've written this book called The Pranic World Book. The title is here. I've written everything before so that I don't...
Have you written down all your books there?
No, just the last book, and the rest is just the events you can participate next. I've written them down so that I don't turn my back on you in the half an hour that I have. So in this, we describe the science behind energy nourishment, and we explain how it works in your body and why it works. Because see, your body is a machinery, right? And it has to do with the internal organs and all the systems, and the calmer you are, the more nourished. And the lighter you go in your diet, and the more you cleanse your inner system, the more energy you have, actually, and the less food you need. Whoever is disturbed by the AC, just move around so that you don't get cold, yes? And we've proved there, or they've discovered scientifically, that maybe your digestive system has another function than just to digest. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever felt more powerful or more clear when, for example, juice fasting? How many of you have ever juice fasted? Yeah? How did you feel? Clear? Energetic? How else? Light, right? What would it happen if you continued that throughout your life, in your day-to-day life? Because it was just a mental frame, I'm going to do it for a week, or did you stop because you really felt that you need denser nourishment? That's right. I have many friends, like more than 20, 30 friends, that are mainly juice nourishing themselves. I'm not going to call it fasting because it's not really a practice where they don't receive nourishment. They do receive nourishment, but in a different way, like the Bhikkhu masters did, like the Hindu masters did, like the ancient practitioners did. Yeah, and like we do here in the dark room with Mantak Chia, where you feed very, very little food, like some nuts and some watermelon and some apple, and you are able to last there for 10 or 21 days, or 7 days, whoever decides to do what, and you have a lot of energy to have all this DMT coming in and so on. Why? Because your body is practicing constantly, every day, every day, every day. Somebody comes and works with you and makes you do that practice and be energized every day. What if you did that every day in your home? Be on juices or light food, and then only when you really think you need it, take a real full meal. And in the meantime, do your practice daily with yourself or with your partners, and try lightening up your plate a little bit. To hold that clarity, to hold that peacefulness, to hold that energization that you had when your digestive system was not so cluttered. So what I was going to say is that they discovered that while fasting, the body actually produces 400 to 500% more melatonin in the digestive system than it does in the brain. Can you imagine?
Melatonin.
Melatonin, yes. I don't know if the pronunciation is correct with me, but it's not English, my main language. Melatonin, the thing you produce in the pineal, especially during sleep or dark time, yeah? That thing is also produced in the digestive system, or the gut brain, as it called. So, do you think that your digestive system might be designed maybe for something else than just digesting? I'm just inviting you to consider that. What about the gut feelings that you have? Think about it. When you know that you know and you do not know why you know it, how do you know? How do you know what you know and you don't know how you know it? They say it's a gut feeling, yeah? Why does the gut has feelings? It's a thing where the energy, where the food goes out. Why does it have feelings? Well, let's think about it. Maybe it does something else than just digest. Maybe in ancient times, when people really knew about this stuff and knew how to channel it, maybe the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Taoists or the ancient Hindus or the civilizations before did all that information, yeah? How did they build the pyramids? They didn't have all the systems that we have now that we couldn't have built half of the pyramids, yeah? How did they do all this stuff without having a very good energy system in this device, yeah? They must have done something that is more than we do that has led them to all these structures and all that knowledge. Systems are the best of the best, and we're not giving them the best fuel that we can so that they function at the highest potential. Think about it. If you had the greatest, how many of you believe you already have that shit? Yeah? Did you ever have telepathic transmissions with yourselves and others? Did you ever have, I'm not going to ask you if you teleported, but some of you might, you know. And instant healing or healing of others, did you happen to have? That's your shit. That's your super biocomputer that you're using every day at maybe. So we invite you to consider that. What if your digestive system is meant for higher things than digesting? What if your brain is meant for higher things that just calculate basic stuff? Like, should I go to work now or should I call in sick? No, that's not what your brain is for. You know, so I know many of you are geniuses here, but I also know many of you could be. And you're not giving the possibility for your highest potential, for your general energy, and for your sexual sharing also. What if your shit could lead your partner into such a high state that he or she would completely heal emotionally just by your touch, just by you holding presence? Have you ever had that experience? Yeah? What if you're in that state and you're not reaching to that potential yet? You're thinking your lady is crazy or your man is crazy, but what if you had the power of entering the room and touching him and he's just well in that instant, just by your presence, by your energy emanation? That's the capacity of your shit. That's what you can do, all of you. It's not for the mighty chosen one, for the special guys who did the 1,000 years of practice. It's for all in nutrients and nourishing also, to partner with them to study what the body does when it's nourished by Qi or is practicing Bhikkhu or Vegetarianism, to study what the body does when it instantly, to go and look at the the endocrine system, to go and look at the chakra system that now can be photographed, to go and look at the brain, to study, because they have great labs and they can do it. They put all the security systems and the extra, monitoring and all that. And the breatharian that was there has proved that in 10 to 14 days, he hasn't had any food or liquid intake, yet he was forming urine in his bladder and then resorbing it. The way we resorb sperm when practicing Tao, yeah? So it's possible also with other types of fluids. Where did that urine come from? Or liquid that they monitor? Would it be that the Qi can turn into cells and then turn back into energy when not needed? And so on and so forth. How did this in the ancient time would vanish when they chose to leave the planet? Do you know about the rainbow body? Have you heard? Yeah? Lately, yeah? With these Tibetan or Chinese sages that at the moment of death, instead of having buried their physical remains, they just transmute them into light. How is that possible? So I know it's a little high-end conversation over that when you wake up in the morning and you go to lunch or breakfast, you make the choice in accordance with your body instead of in accordance to your cravings. What does it take that instead of taking your phone and checking your mail, to leave the phone and check in your energy system first? What does it take for you to, instead of calling your boyfriend at night and talking for 2 hours, to talk to your body for 1 hour and see what these organs have stored from a state, to live from a state of peace and balance, and just seek for the extra energization instead to seek to fix things when they get worse, yeah? So it's a matter of choice, and it's a matter of treating your body right, and it's a matter of wanting to share with your partner the best version of yourself and with the world. I was not so into self-love when I started 10 years ago. I was not loving myself. So I had no love for myself to nourish myself correctly and blah, blah, blah. But I did want to present my best version to others. Because I did feel that I'm making the ones around me a little crazy, So I wanted to be better, at least for them. It was not a self-love decision, but it was an altruistic decision. Then I slowly get into self-love, And what does it take for you to make these choices? You have all the knowledge that you need now from these classes and from the books that are already written, and then you can go to other gatherings and you can come to the festivals and to Mantak Chia's classes and so on, and you learn more and more. But do you make the choice to practice, to enhance your energy, and to really share the best version with your partner? For men, to have a clear, young energy, when you take your woman, she feels your power. And for the women, to be so soft and tender and gentle that your man feels at peace when he's with you. He doesn't feel that he's wrestling with another company, but he's tenderly held in your feminine beauty. And that's very important for your couple balance as well, for your relationships. And that comes also from your plate. Because when a heavy meal, more anger is stirred in your body, and it's going to be projected on the one next to you. When you're getting angry, guess who gets kicked first? You're not going to call your mother, yeah? You have your husband right there, or your wife, yeah? So that's why I'm saying, if you want to be kinder, just eat lighter, and just do your practice, and think about the others, if not about yourself. And just try to live in a better world by starting with yourself. That's my message for today. Yeah, and if you want to study further, where you can find us, we have a Pranic Festival in India in March 3-8, and a Pranic Festival in Romania, and there's a bunch of events on our page and our website. And if you have a few questions, We have like 10 more minutes to get to the next class, so feel free to ask. I'm just going to sit myself down. Do you have any? Yes, please.
It's about the light meals and so on.
Yes.
So if I go into minus 20, minus 30,
In your country, you mean?
I'm more success with a good meat meal to stay warm.
Yes.
Than if I'm in this beautiful Thailand where I don't eat
Absolutely.
heavy food.
But it's a matter of choice, because if you want to think about it, what really nourishes you from your plate? What do you measure when you measure your nourishment capacity? What do you measure? Calories, right?
Yes.
You measure calories, so that's how your meal is measured, in calories. They don't know yet how to measure the chi capacity of food. I hope they come to that eventually, or maybe there is already, I don't know, but I didn't hear. So calories, right? So, and another thing that we could measure is the management between the energy you consume to extract nourishment from that food and the energy you get from that food. So it has been proven that the energy you consume to intake and digest, what they have seen is that his pineal is maybe 2 times bigger than a normal one. So it has expanded actually in size, not only in function. But it has to be done correctly, and after a certain amount of practice, it has to be stopped or combined with serious earthing or grounding. So walking barefoot and sitting on the ground. Hope he comes to the Indian festival. Okay, other questions? We're about to finish in 2 minutes.
Next question.
Welcome. Thanks for coming.
About lowering the food capacity to take in. Is it
Yeah.
I imagine it's something individual, like you cannot just do it from the mind.
No,
so,
not
so
at
your
all.
body can, some people need more than others.
Others, yeah.
For
And
the
in
juice.
some times and certain climates, like you asked,
Yeah.
you need less or more than in other times and other climates. And it also depends a lot on the emotional state and how much detox you've done to your body. So here you have my cards if you want them. So if you had your body in an emotional state, then you can be on an extended maximum 40 days on just very little liquid juice a day with nothing. After I did the first dark room here, but why? Because for a year before I did an extended detox with 4 cereals all the way through the year. That's mainly what I've eaten. And then it was the Christmas Lent when I gave up all the animal products in 2011 or 12. And then I came 10 days of dark room with no food and just juices and meditation. And melatonin, a lot of melatonin in my system. So when I came home, I didn't feel the need to eat for more than a month. And when I tried to eat, I had amazing pain in my body. Because my body was on such high frequency that it couldn't swallow sometimes. I had gotten into a state where Rita was flowing song. That was my story, and I know it's possible because I was very energetic and very cool. And now I do it whenever it's necessary. And some people just get it from my field, just naturally, when they are ready for it. But I'm not diligently wanting to stay all the time in that state, because it's really groups starting from scientists to various types of practitioners. That's why I'm here. So back to you is that detox first, emotional balancing second, with these practices that are amazing and very, very efficient, and always be in contact with your body, exactly, not from the mind at all. You could fall and die. I'm telling everyone, do not try this at home without teachers, without practice, or lessons, and so on. Yeah. And the climate also. When winter comes, I need more warm soups and a little more often to eat than in normal warm climate. Yeah. Because body consumes energy to balance the temperature, so it's different. And it also, I don't like the grounding is also how much you ground, how much you walk barefoot. Yeah. So that's important, yeah.
Thank you.
That's it? We're done?
Sorry, I just arrived late.
Okay, oh well, you arrived at the end. But then you can take a card and you find me on YouTube, and it's mainly this stuff that I'm talking about. And you can take a picture of that and you find my name all over the internet.
Thank
And
you.
on the website you find all the information. That's why I've written all this stuff. So if you want to meet us next, you come to India, March 3rd to 8th. There's a great festivals with people that are practicing Pigu and Tantra, and there are amazing speakers. And or come to Romania, August 15 to 19, where we do the next event. And in the meantime, we have more private retreats with 10, 20 people. Yeah. Nice.